But here, there are no intruders. The only company for miles is an army of hungry ticks living in the grass and a lake full of fish 100 meters away. The teams are getting noticeably better at pitching tents and preparing supper. Every day, the time for the job gets shorter and the quality better. Teams from countries close to the Mediterranean make the most lavish dinners. The Northern Europeans, the worst. Before bed, a brief chance for Stefano Bianconi to think of Leonardo, the newborn son he has yet to meet. A new day, and the camaraderie amongst all the teams is about to be put to the test in a waterborne challenge. A race between two groups using rafts. A race for points towards the special task score.
Drop down. It's open, it's open. Okay. Left, left, left. This is right, right, right. Down, down.
The teams were divided in two groups, and we had to put all the cars over to the other side of the lake, and we could use those floating rafts we have to pump up. And well, the thing was, who's doing this in the fastest time? We didn't know what was on the other side of the lake, so we went there first and see how we get all these cars through a swampy area to the other bank. And we didn't have enough material to do it for ourselves, so we used each other material, make one good track to the other side. It was not very easy to get on the bank, but with each other material we could make it. And so we help each other, and it was just the speed of bringing the cars over who depends who was winning or not.
There is no right way or wrong way to cross the lake, no rule book to stick to. Ingenuity is the only guide to completing the challenge. It has been months since a reconnaissance team stopped at the lake. Since then, the conditions have changed, for the worse. Across the water, in the weeds on the other side, the mud is knee-deep. The challenge is no longer beating the other teams, but beating the elements.
It was supposed to be a race, but we're working as just one big team because the conditions on this side of the shore are bad. There's too much mud, so we don't have enough materials to make two ramps. So we're working as one big team, and we get it on fine.
Normally, on Camel Trophy, the convoy runs as a whole. often up to 3 kilometers long, each car looking out for the next. In Guatemala, that all changes. Spread out like pathfinders discovering a new land, the teams unfurl Guatemala for themselves. The roads are bigger, but no better than the jungle tracks. Big potholes slow the vehicles right down, and a downpour turns the main road into a river. As trucks and cars wait for it to dry, Camel Trophy keeps moving. This is the real Central America. "750 kilometers separate the Petén and the Guatemalan border with El Salvador, where the convoy has plans to regroup. 750 kilometers in 2 days. Sleep is kept short. Up over the mountains of western Guatemala, where some of the world's best coffee is grown, the team see the country, warts and all. At the river Ostua, where Guatemala and El Salvador meet, the team safely came together again. The Belgians had come close to crashing, but everyone else was safe. The dream of a final week waist-deep in mud looked to be coming true. But the reality of life on the road was a little more down to earth. A herd of cattle brought the convoy to a standstill. In El Salvador, the fourth of the Mundo Maya nations, Camel Trophy donated a cloud forest research station to the Monte Cristo National Park.
So without further ado, I'd like to ask the Vice Minister of Agriculture if by unveiling this plate I can officially hand over to the authorities in El Salvador and the Monte Cristo Reserve this building donated on behalf of Camel Trophy.
Monte Cristo is the latest in a long line of environmental projects the event has built or funded. The rains swelled the rivers on the border between El Salvador, Guatemala and Honduras, turning stream into torrent. Under the surface, huge boulders littered the riverbed. One wrong turn and a discovery could be left floundering in midstream. One at a time, following precisely in each other's wheel tracks, the convoy inched its way across the river. On the far bank, deep mud awaited the drivers. 2 vehicles were already up to their axles. One narrow track was the only way out of the river and back onto dry land. In the heat, the roads into Honduras dried very quickly. By 8 o'clock in the morning, the thermometer in the vehicles was nudging 40 degrees. The shade from palm trees on the roadside did little to cool things down. The teams prayed for more rain. Then, on the widest track in the jungle, with the going good, a lone cow threatened to halt the convoy. Eventually, it thought better of the idea, and the discoveries kept rolling. Honduras, the southernmost point in the exploration of the Mundo Maya, and the heavens are rumbling. A week late, the rainy season looks as if it will finally begin. In the shadow of the ruins at Copan, the greatest Mayan city of them all, the teams celebrate the turning point. The teams grab a snack before a brief night's sleep and a dream of mud for the journey north.
Good. Yeah, good. Good.
Well, I think it's perhaps not quite what some of the people expect. Camel Trophy isn't exclusively about driving. You get the whole special tasks side of it. You get the challenges during the trophy itself. And driving is only a part of it. I think perhaps people were expecting a little bit more in line with what we had in Turkey in terms of mud and winching, etc., etc. But Camel, I mean, they can't control the weather. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you have it dry, sometimes it's wet. In a way, we've saved ourselves a lot of time in traveling by having it dry. But then we've missed a lot of the fun of the mud and having to winch and that sort of thing.